Happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm so glad everybody is here. I really am. I'm tonight is going to be a really fun night. It's going to be interesting. I think you guys are going to I know the chat's going to go crazy. Okay? I know you guys are going to have lots and lots and lots of questions. So do me a huge favor tonight. Make sure you guys put them in all caps. Um I'm going to kind of try cuz I'm going to be I'll be kind of starring each one of them as I see them. And then towards the end, we are going to talk about, your questions. Tonight, the tables are turned a little bit. I am going to share my experience. And my friend and author, John Vandeventer, is here tonight. And he's kind of going to be interviewing me a little bit. So it's going to be fun. And it's going to be a lot to unpack. I'm just telling you guys, it's a lot to unpack. It's going to be, there's a lot of pieces that several of us, me, Jessica, and Matt, and Amber's in the chat. Hey, Amber, my girl. Jessica's here too. Good. Awesome. So there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts to this. And I'm going to try my best to kind of paint the whole picture, kind of from beginning to end. So that way it sounds and makes a little more sense than we still don't, even have all the answers yet. We really don't. So, okay. I am nervous. I was nervous, then I wasn't nervous, but now I'm nervous again. So y'all have to pray for me, okay? Cuz I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it tonight. I am going to be bringing up my friend. Hi, John.
Hi, Marty. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for agreeing to do this with me. And I couldn't think of okay, yes, there's other people, but I really wanted you. I really wanted you because I know that you have a different mindset and I know that you're going to ask me like really good questions. And I'm so excited you're here with me tonight to go through
Well, thank
this.
you. It's a pleasure
Yeah.
and an honor.
Yeah. So let me just real quick, we'll just say hi to everybody who's in chat right now. Hang on, guys. Looks like there's a lot of you, and I'm so happy. Thank you. Brown Dwarf, how are you doing out there in California? We got Gary. Hey, Gary. Francesca Maria. Hi. Primal Cry. Hey, Primal Cry. Hey, listen, Primal Cry. I have to get a package out to you and it will be next week. So I'll message you and let you know and give you the tracking so you guys can track it and I'll send that to you next week. Jean, hey Jean, how are you, honey? Wherever there's Gary, there's Jean. I think they're best friends. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. And then Amber, thanks, Amber, for being here tonight. I really am so excited that you could join in because you really are you played a pivotal role in this whole experience. Even before I left, you actually were, I don't know, girl, you got a gift. Whew, do you have a gift? Val, thank you for coming. Darkwoods, how are you? I got to get you back on the show soon. Blues, hi, honey. You got me live this time. Jay, how are you, Mr. Jay Fritz? And Miss Jessica Jones, we know she's in here. How are you, Jessica? John, I did talk to Jessica last night. She did kind of pop in on my show for just a few minutes last night. So she actually she's going to have somebody remote view for me or for us to see what happened and get confirmation to see what the heck happened to us. And let's see, did I miss anybody? I hope I did not miss anybody. I am so sorry if I did. I don't think I did. Okay. So, I'm going to start the story literally at the beginning. Um, Before Matt and I left on this trip, we were actually supposed to go. I'm sorry, Amber wants to know what John's abilities are. John is an author, and and do you want to talk about abilities, John? Do you have abilities?
I'm doing good to walk, so
Yeah.
no, no, I have no special abilities or
Yeah. But that was another reason why I thought it was going to be this perfect match because even though like you and I we keep in touch a lot, right? We message back and forth, but I had not talked to you about this story at all. I didn't, and you had reached out, and I was like, yeah, it's been a weird one, and I didn't know what to say. I honestly didn't know what to tell people. Hey, Cassie, how are you? And it was great because I was like, you're the perfect person to help me kind of unpack this whole thing because you're completely outside, right, of the entire thing. You don't know anything yet, really. I haven't really
right. I
shared
don't.
any. I haven't shared anything, so it's like you have this fresh perspective. So that's why it was like I was so excited, when you agreed to it. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Um, so before Matt and I left to go on this trip, we actually were scheduled to go someplace else. We had a trip planned to go somewhere else to another research area, and at the last minute, the the plans fell through and we had to pivot someplace else. So Matt reached out to Jessica, and she's a good friend of mine and Matt's. And he's like, hey, Jessica, what do you have any ideas what we could do or where we could go? And Jessica was like, hey, hi, Claude. Jessica was like, yeah, hey, we could go and, go up to this place. And so it was about 2 weeks before we were scheduled to leave is when I started manifesting a specific thing. So what I basically was doing was I was meditating daily, and I was reciting the same thing over and over and over. And basically it was along the lines of, without saying exactly, along the lines of, on this trip, I want to encounter like specific beings, okay, like ultra terrestrials, extraterrestrials, Sasquatch, dogmen, forest folk, and but in a peaceful way, and only higher vibrational beings, and like that kind of a thing, right? Like, so I was doing that every single day for 2 weeks straight because Matt and I kind of said, hey, let's see if we can manifest something. Let's try it. So that's what we did. Except I didn't realize he was, I guess, maybe might have been testing me a little bit because he wasn't doing it, only I was. So I'm like, okay. But I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that until much later. Hey, Michael Haywood, how are you, dear? So that was before the trip happened. I had a very brief message with Amber a couple of days before we were going to leave. And I said to Amber, I jokingly said, hey, we're leaving. We're getting ready to go on our trip, or this is where we're going. And who knows, maybe I'll get abducted by aliens. LOL. And at the same time I said that, my message went to her and her message came into me. And Amber, you can attest to this. She said, I'm already feeling like you guys are going to have some ET contact.
Marty. Can I ask a question?
Oh, go for it.
Okay,
Jump
well,
in.
while you were doing your meditation or channeling, whatever,
Uh-huh.
you guys already had a destination picked out. Am I correct? And
Yes.
then it didn't change until your trip started. Is that right?
I didn't start manifesting or focusing on that until after the plan changed to the new area, to where we went.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Good question. That's why you're here, John. Good question, though, because there's a portion in the story where I'm very, it seemed like something was already there, right?
Well, that was what I was wondering. If you had a place picked out and you were meditating for this
I
to happen, maybe
Yes.
that was why the plans for the trip changed to another area. It was just something that entered
I
my head.
But I think that the manifesting that I was doing and just the same thing over, because you got to remember too, another part of the story is Jessica, she met us in, she met us in our campground where we had Matt had booked Matt booked the campsite. So she met us there, but then we had to drive a, an hour to get to this research area, or I would not, I mean, it's an area on a mountain that she knew of. So it was kind of like I didn't know where exactly we were going at all until literally we got there. So, um, and I don't even think I could find it again today. I would need Jessica. So I was doing all of this, and yep, that's right, Jessica. No coincidence. Um, we, Matt and I got on, got there. We drove through the night on Thursday night. We got there Friday morning. We went shopping. We did some food shopping, got some like last minute things that we needed, and we go to the campsite. So the first thing that happened when we got to the campsite, we realized that our particular site literally was almost like it was like the road was at the top and then it was down. We had to go down a bunch of steps and it was like it looked like it was almost like on the side of a cliff or something. It was crazy. And we pull up and I'm like, oh, Matt, this is like, how are we going to get all of our stuff down there? The guy in the campsite next to us comes up and he says, he said, "Hey, we have family that's coming in and they're going to be here later tonight and they booked their campsite. It's down the road a little bit on the end of the road and it's more secluded. Would you guys like to like switch campsites with them so that we can be next to each other?" So Matt and I went down, looked at the campsite, and I was like, "Yeah, this is a much better." It was a much better campsite. It was bigger because there were going to be 3 tents because Jessica was coming later that night. So it worked out perfect. And this is important to the story for a couple of reasons. So the first thing that seemed weird, Matt and I were getting everything unpacked and we're setting up the tents. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement. I looked and I have some photos so I can show you guys. So this is hang on one second here. Let me pull up this one photo. All right. So out of the corner of my eye, I see something move. I look and I saw something black and it jumped like off of this off of a log and into this like kind of like brush pile thing. So this is where I saw it. Oh, hang on. I gotta share. Hang on, guys. I'm getting there. There we go. So this brush pile thing was like near our campsite. So what I saw was something on right in here, and then it jumped from here down into here someplace. And it was like this black, it was like small, it was bigger than a cat. And I don't know how to describe it. It was just this like little black slinky looking thing. And it just kind of just went woo, like it whooshed down. And then I said to Matt, I go, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "Did you just see that?" And he's like, "No, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" And I'm like, That's weird. I was like, I just saw some black thing jumped down. And then I was like, I totally dismissed it. Totally dismissed it. I was like, okay, must be, and you know how we do, right? We're like, oh, maybe it was a cat, or maybe it was this, or maybe it was that. I don't know, but whatever. We got to put a 10 up, right?
Was there any noise involved? Did you hear
I
landing
heard it.
leaves or you
I
did hear it?
just I just heard it hit when it like jumped off and dived into like where the brush part of it was. Like I heard crunch, like little crunchy sound, like a crunchy sound. Um, but I didn't even go over and check it out. I really didn't. I was like, I I just didn't pay that much attention to it. So, hey there, cons. How are you? Oh, Lee. Thank you for coming, my friend. Um, so I went in my and I went to the car, I grabbed my phone, and I can't even remember what I was doing with. Oh, I know what it was. We were trying to book the new campsite for an additional night. So I was trying to get signal. As I'm doing that, I get a message from Amber, and she says two things. First thing she says, watch the skies, keep your eyes on the skies, and keep an eye for eyes in the trees and the small black furry cryptids. And I'm like, what? Like, how did she know this? And I mean, who knows when she sent it? Who knows? I mean, it was probably like 2 hours later when I got the text message. And I'm like, okay, this is bizarre. I said, Matt, you're not even going to believe this. Look at what Amber just sent. And he was like, what? So that was weird. So that was like the first really strange thing. So Jessica got in. Hey, Flat Rock. So Jessica got to the site kind of late. It was kind of late. I might have been around. I think it was like around 11:30 or something. She got in. So we were helping her get like her tent up, and so we were all just kind of like, kind of talking after we got helped her get all settled in. And we're just hanging out, and we're just talking and talking. And it had started in the middle of the night. We finally went to bed, and the vibe in the place was, I don't want to say super off, but there was a weird vibe to the entire area. And so we were just, having fun, just chilling out for a couple of hours. And then we were all exhausted, just, just plain exhausted. Cause at that point, I think Matt and I had been up for like almost 48 hours. We were so exhausted. And Jess had been a long day too. So we go to bed. I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was like 4:30 in the morning, I think, and it was starting to rain. And this crazy thing that Matt had me get for me to sleep on in the tent. Next thing I woke up, it's 4:30 in the morning, it's starting to rain, and I'm pretty much laying on the ground. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is not going to work. So I grabbed my blanket and my pillow, and I went to the truck. So I get in the truck, and I think I slept till around 8:30. So not a whole lot, anything that we're aware of happened on Friday night. On Saturday, it was rainy. It rained, and it was doing this like drizzling rain. So we couldn't research anywhere. We couldn't really go hiking anywhere. We couldn't really do anything. It's finally settled down and stopped raining. I think might have been about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So then we were like, well, hey, we got some, looks like we're going to have some better weather. You know, did you, Jess was like, yeah, well, let's go to where we were going to go. So it was about an hour drive from the campsite. And then once we got to the mountain, it was 38 minutes it took to get to the top of the mountain. When we got I do not have I just have a Honda CR-V. I do not have four-wheel drive. I do not have, like, truck tires. I do not have, and it was just this, like, a one road. "Hey, paramedic." So it was one road, one lane, in and out. And it was I'm trying to picture it in my mind, like, where the tires were, it looked, it's Georgia, so it looked like clay, like that red clay. And in the center of the lane, it was like it was almost like a hill in the center, right? And so as we're going up this mountain, and it's like this windy kind of road going like a spiral up the mountain. But as you're going up the spiral road, it's also doing like these dips, right? So much so that some of them, exactly, it was Jessica. Yeah. Hang on a second. Yeah. It was a long, bumpy road to the top. Exactly. In my car, yeah, it was. There were so almost every other hill I was bottoming out. Like you could hear my car like hitting the rocks, like hitting and hitting things. And I was getting a little nervous because I was like, oh man, am I even gonna like is my car gonna make it to the top of the mountain? Because it was like so narrow and I was like nervous because some of these hills, like you would get up to the top of the hill. And when you got to the top, you couldn't see the other side. Like you didn't even know how far down you were going to go, right? Like it was that some of these areas were just so steep. So it took us about 38 minutes to get up to the top of the mountain. And we get out of the car. Jessica was in the back and Matt was in the passenger seat. I was driving. Matt got out and I think Jessica got out. And then I was the last to get out. And I opened up my car door. And it's the second that my feet hit the ground, I instantaneously was nauseous. I was extremely disoriented. I was, I, it was as if it was a vortex. The only way I can describe it and how I've described it is like a vortex of energy just in this place. Like the energy was unbelievable. Like I had never felt, I'd only felt that disoriented in one place down here in Florida. That's the only other time I felt it, but never, but even then, not this strong. And I even said, I was like, whoa, I was like, wow, there's a lot of energy here. And I am like feeling nauseous. Matt got my chair out, set my chair out. And I literally walking to the chair, I said, there are eyes behind us. There's something watching us. I knew that. I knew that. And I literally been there 2 seconds. Like I knew there were eyes behind us. Something was there watching. I sat down and then the three of us were kind of our chairs were in like a triangle, right? And so in the past, whenever I have felt Sasquatch around, I get a heaviness, it feels like something sitting on my chest. I feel it's sometimes it's very difficult to breathe, and that's how I know when they're around me. However, this particular night, it was a lot. I mean, it was just like something like almost just squeezing me to death is how I felt. Like something was so I knew in that moment, I'm like, okay, they're upset. Anxiety. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling confusion. I'm feeling like this whole who are you? What are you doing here? Like, who the hell are you? And what are you doing here? Like, we don't know you. What are you doing here? So I had my eyes closed and I'm trying to connect with them. I knew for a fact that they were just refusing. They were hearing me. They just were refusing to communicate back to me. That's when I realized, okay, there's three. I knew there were three of them. And I don't know how I know this, guys, but it happens to me. I know I'm able to kind of figure out where they are by feeling their energy. So I knew that there was one male like at my 4:30 position, and then I knew that there were two other males on the other side at like 7 and 9 positions. So I knew that they were there, and I started communicating, and I just started saying to them and over and over, I'm just letting you guys know we're not here to harm you. We mean you no disrespect. We're only here to learn. We're only here for knowledge. We're not here to harm you. And I just kind of kept saying it over and over and over and over and over. At some point, finally, it I could breathe. I could breathe a little better, and they started to calm down. In the meantime, though, as they're starting to calm down and I'm feeling a lot that I could breathe better, I again, I still have my eyes closed. I'm not seeing anything and I'm concentrating on them because I'm trying to get them to communicate with me. Um, and that's when Matt and Jessica both saw orbs, but in two different places. And the orbs that they did see were very like the way that they had described them was like a reddish orange um orb that just kind of like, like was there and then just kind of Matt said his kind of like blinked out and I think Jessica said hers blurred a little bit, I think. Um Jessica, if you're in the chat still and you can confirm that. I think you said yours kind of blurred a little bit like as if it was like it moved or something. So I didn't even see them. Right at that moment, right in that moment I said, and again, my eyes are still closed because I'm still trying to communicate with these guys. Right in that moment, I said, these two are moving. I said, they're moving this direction. And I said, now they're like 9 and 11. Yeah. She says that the orb blurred. Yes. Okay. It moved. Right. Okay. So when I kind of eyes closed, I was like, okay, they're moving in this position. They're moving this direction to the 9 and 11 position. Right after they saw those orbs, I said that I didn't even hear it because again, I'm trying to concentrate. They hear a huff, as how they described it, was like a whew, like that. And they heard it. Matt was shining his light, trying to see like if it was a bear or any eye shine or anything. Didn't see anything.
Marty, quick question.
Hmm.
You mentioned that the night before, the previous night, things felt
Yeah.
off. Now, was that something that came after dark? Did you have that off feeling when y'all first went into the camp?
I think, yeah, it was more at night. I think it
More at
as
night?
when the I yeah, I think when the sun went down, it was more off or it felt a little more off than it did during the day.
As you were going up the mountain in the spiral, did you feel any pressure getting uncomfortable or
No,
any hint that when you got out of the car you would
none.
so everything
None.
was normal till your feet hit the ground.
When my feet hit the ground.
Okay.
That's yeah, feet hit the ground.
And how did you
And
feel when you detected three? Okay, and
mhm,
you let them know you were there just to learn, no harm
yep,
intended.
right?
Did it lighten at all? Did the mood lighten at
Yes,
all before the orbs came?
it did. It did for me. I mean, I could feel that they were like still not happy because they didn't trust us because they didn't know us, but yet they knew we didn't mean them any harm. And I also think that they recognized Jessica. I
Okay.
think that was also a part of it because Jessica's been going there for many years. So I think they also recognized her as in like, okay, well, we know her. All right. Okay. So maybe what you're telling us is the truth, that you are just here to learn. And, but yet they were still reserving a very like, all right,
And,
you're here, but we got, we're watching you, like we're keeping an eye on you kind of thing. So right at that moment when we heard that, or they heard the huff, because I said, I didn't hear it. I couldn't even, I honestly, I was just trying so hard to calm them down and to make them understand, like, we're just here for whatever. Right in that moment, right after they heard the huff, in between me and Jessica, it kind of like swooped. It's kind of strange. It was like this energy swooped around Jessica and came in between the two of us. And it was as if it was just kind of lingering in the middle, in the middle of the three of us. And yet this was like a strange thing for me because I had, never felt anything like that. It was a very strange energy. I don't even know how to describe it to you. It was not Sasquatch. It wasn't. I didn't feel like it was anything of this earth. That's all I can describe it as. And it came in, and as soon as it was like it literally like it swooped in, and it was kind of lingering, and all of a sudden we look or we hear rain, like a wall of rain coming for us. Like just come, we could hear it moving through the trees and coming through. It was so thick. It was like this huge wall of rain coming. We had just enough time to go, whoa, like we threw threw the chairs in the car. We got in the car, experience over. We're like, okay, experience over. Sucks. Rain happened. We're kind of like, man, what if, too bad that rain, showed up. We were like, so disappointed. And then we were kind of talking about that weird energy, and we were kind of talking about it a little bit. Now, again, it's not like I have a big beefy truck of any kind. And I'm thinking to myself, we got to get down this mountain because if we got to be like, I was really nervous. I didn't know if we were going to be able to get down this mountain before the road washed out or we got stuck up there. I was nervous. I'm like, I don't want to get stuck up here. I'm like, we got to get down this mountain. We start the trip back, and all I remember the bottom of my car bottoming out only 3 times. I remember that. And then there was a point where we turned a corner. I came around the corner, and as my headlights came around, to the right of us was almost um I'm trying to describe it in words. Hold on. As my headlights came around, there was like a small, kind of like a little, like it almost looked like a little tiny trail off this kind of that, but that kind of like went down the side of the mountain. But it was just a trail, not a road. And as my headlights came around, I saw this huge, gigantic shadow. And I said, what the hell was, and Matt goes, did you see that thing? And I'm like, what was that? And he's like, I don't know. And I mean, we started talking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, that thing was huge. That thing was huge. And he's like, yeah, it was huge. And literally within a minute or two, he says, that's okay because we're off the mountain. And I said, what? What do you, we're off the mountain? And he goes, yeah, look, we're right here, right here. I look at the end of the car and we're literally at the bottom of the mountain. I know for a fact that we were only in that car maybe 10 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And it was at that moment, we all just were kind of like, wait a minute. Where were all the scrapes on the going, and where were all these dips and huge and things and twists and wait a minute. We didn't experience any of that, guys. Okay. We got to the end of got off the mountain, got on the road, asphalt road, where, there's houses around and everything. I'm driving. All of a sudden I started getting, and this happened to me previously down here in South Florida, where it was confusing. Yes, Jessica, it was so confusing because we were just kind of like, what happened here? What just happened? And there were times here in Florida when I have been in a research area, tried to communicate with Sasquatch, picked almost the exact same scenario. I knew where they were. I knew the positions they were at. Like I knew, right? I knew it was a male. I knew it was a female. I knew whatever. Okay. I knew that kind of thing. And when I left the area, I started getting more information. Well, the same thing happened this time. I start getting things like, I knew that the single male that was over here by himself, I knew that he was the clan leader. He is the leader of that entire mountain. He is over every Sasquatch on that mountain. I was getting that. The other ones were younger, and they were just following orders. They were doing what they were told to do. As I'm starting to connect with him and I'm starting to get more information, I ask him his name. When I asked him his name, shit got weird. I asked his name because I'm trying to build kind of like a relationship with him. I'm trying to kind of get more information. I asked his name, and all I got was screaming in my head. And it was for the first time I actually heard a no, no, no. And it was this shaking back and forth thing. No, no, no. And at the second that happened, out from the passenger side of the car, something flies in front of the car in absolute slow motion. Jessica screamed. I'm screaming. Matt's like, what the hell? Like, we didn't know what the heck. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was as if it flew sideways, like it was sideways flying in front of the car, so in slow motion. When it happened, it completely broke the connection with the Sasquatch. Now, I don't know if the Sasquatch broke the connection, or if it was me that broke the connection because of that happening. So I'm not sure which it was.
Was it an entity that flew in front of you, or was it just an object?
Well, after we got back to camp and we started kind of talking it through, well, before we got back to camp, we stopped at like a Burger King because like down the road, because I was shook up. I was like, okay, I'm still disoriented. I'm still feeling nauseous. I'm having a horrible, it was the worst pain in my head. It was right here. It wasn't it was unbelievable. I thought I was gonna just like I couldn't even concentrate. It was like I don't know what was going on with me physically. I was just physically sick. And we stopped at this Burger King, and we got something to drink, and we're trying to figure out, like, wait a minute, what was that thing? Like, what was that? And then we're trying to figure it out, like, because Jessica at first she thought that it was a hawk. And then I don't know which one of us said it looked like an owl. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Why, how would it? And yet we all three described it as flying in absolute slow motion. It was like it went like this, when the whole thing had to have happened like that, right? So I have photos. We got back to camp and we talked about, like, we are trying to figure out what it was. I do have some photos. We think we figured it out. And he couldn't be here tonight, Amber. He's just, that poor boy is inundated. It's just three kids and a million things going on. So unfortunately he couldn't make it. But all right. So this is okay. I'm going to pull this one up first because I'm pulling up this one first because this one is similar to the position that it was in when we saw it come across in front of us. This is almost the exact position that it was in. Because what we described to each other, we were like, okay, it had no markings, and we knew it wasn't white. We knew it was tan, but we none of us saw any markings like of the feathers. Like the only thing we could come up with was this is the position it was in as it flew in front of the car and like looked at us. Yeah, like Jessica says, the owl was a solid light tan color. So, okay, so that I have that photo. This is the one that's, to me, I wanted to show because that's the position it was literally in when it did its little slow motion thing. Okay, so there's now these this is and we knew it wasn't really a big one. And this one kind of shows like a side view so you can kind of see they're not that big of a bird. They're actually kind of small. Like, see how kind of short it is? That's why I think that's the reason maybe why Jessica thought at first that it was like a hawk at first, because it did seem kind of compact a little bit. So when I saw this photo, I was like, yeah, that would make, this is kind of like maybe this closer to the scale.
Marty,
Uh-huh.
the shadow you saw coming down the mountain, I meant to ask this
Mhm.
earlier. Was it shaped like a Sasquatch, or was it shaped human or humanoid, or did you have time to notice?
I can tell you that it was not a Sasquatch because I would have felt it.
Okay,
It was
when we're done later,
humanoid, but it was humanoid in
looking shaped.
shape. Yes. Yes.
When we're
What I
done later, I don't want to interrupt your story, but after the show's over, I want to tell you about something to do with your owl, and we'll
Yeah?
talk about it later. Yeah,
Oh gosh, okay.
the colors brought back something to me that I've seen in the
That
last
you
few years.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I want to hear about that.
Okay,
Okay. And then so there's those two photos. Now here this is a close up. This is like a close up of the face of and it's a barn owl, guys. I'm sorry. I did not actually say that. My apologies. It's a barn owl. BARN, barn owl. And like this is a close up of its face. Now, when we got to this Burger King and we're kind of talking about what the hell happened to us, we're talking about missing time. We're talking about, was that owl a screen memory? Because people talk about that all the time. They're like, oh, well, wait a minute. We got missing time and we saw an owl, and owls are always associated, or not always, but mostly associated with a lot of contactees and abductees. They see and have screen memories of owls. So I said, we're in the car at the Burger King, and I said to Matt, get Amber on the phone right now. I'm like, get Amber on the phone. I need to know what the hell just happened to us. I get Amber on the phone and I'm like, Amber, some really crazy stuff just went down. Some really crazy things. We don't know what just happened to us. What happened? Do you know, can you see anything? I mean, at this point, because I am literally still sick, like I'm still disoriented, nauseous, feeling just like this pain in my head and feeling so sick. We get Amber on the phone and Amber's like, she's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I see this predator thing. I'm like, what do you mean predator thing? Like the predator thing? Like as in the movie The Predator? And she was like, yeah, but I said, well, are you talking about, are you seeing like the watery, shimmery looking thing from the Predator movie? And she goes, no, the other thing. And I'm like, you mean like the alien thing? Like the alien looking thing? And she's like, yeah. She was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. He knew you guys were there. He knew you were coming there. He knew you were going to be there. And we're all just like, what? And I literally, it's funny because I knew I knew what she was saying was true. I knew it. I knew it. I knew that it was true, but there was still this weird part of me that just kind of was like, okay, Marty, you got to compartmentalize this right now. You got to compartmentalize this. We got to take this one thing at a time. Cause like, that's just because I'm a property manager and that's what I have to do. I have been trained and have learned for almost 20 years. You have to prioritize, right? And so that's kind of where my brain started going. It was like, okay, I'm hearing what she's saying. Some shit just went down. I don't know what went down, but we got an hour to drive. We got an hour. So I'm like, okay, let's go. Because we've got an hour to get back to camp. I was having such pain in my head that I don't even know, I might have driven about 20 minutes and I just had to pull over and I had to let Matt drive. Right at the same time, Jessica started having, when I was really, because I hadn't said anything about the pain in my head yet. Until that time, I was like, "Hey Matt, I am in this terrible pain. I can't drive." And Jessica starts talking about how she had the exact same pain in the exact same side. Then Matt starts kind of saying like, "Hey, yeah, I'm having like a headache and feeling weird too." So he drives, we get back to the camp and we're just trying to process this. Like we're just literally trying to process what happened, trying to figure out what happened. Was the owl connected to the Sasquatch, or was it a screen memory from an alien abduction? Were we accosted or were we abducted? And I didn't even know that there was a difference between being accosted and abducted. I found out that night though. So, accosted is, I guess, where they can, again, I'm not an expert, but from what my understanding of it is, when you're accosted, they literally, an ET or an interdimensional being can kind of like take you out of your body, kind of stop time, take you out of your body, do whatever it is they want to do with you, and then put you back and start time again. For lack of a better explanation, that's kind of what being accosted would be. An abduction is an abduction where they literally take your physical body, you leave, you're off planet, you're on a ship, and then they bring you back. So we were trying to figure all this out. Matt, thank goodness, and I this is a key point that I did forget to mention. When we got there to the mountain, when we got out of the car, Matt, the whole reason for us going on this trip was so that Matt could get footage for his next film. And yet, He went to get his equipment out of the car and then put it back and pulled out, of all flipping things, a harmonica and then one of these, a Tibetan singing bowl. I'm like, "What are you gonna do with that?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna make some noise and see what happens." So at that point, I said, "No, don't do it because I'm trying to communicate with them." I'm like, "Wait, don't do that yet because I'm trying to calm them down right now." And then the orbs happen and all this other stuff. So, but after we got back to camp, Matt was like, "I can't believe." He says, "I don't understand it. I I'm a filmmaker. I have how much equipment in the back of that truck right now, and I went to bring it out and turn around and was like, yeah, I don't need it. Let me grab my harmonica and my Tibetan singing bowl." Like, what? He's like, "I don't even know how that happened." So we just started talking about it. And then Matt says, "You know what? Let me film it." So he does have all of us kind of having this discussion about what I saw and experienced and what Jessica saw and she experienced and what Matt saw and he experienced. And so we do have that on film, and Matt will be using that in his next film. And we were just trying to process. That night, Matt went into his tent. I actually slept in Jessica's tent with her. And I'm kind of laying there. We were talking, we were doing the girl thing, kind of talking a little bit, chit-chatting, kind of cutting up and laughing. And next thing I know, she's out. She's out. She's out. And I hear in the back corner of the tent, I hear something. I don't know what it is. I'm hearing something moving around the back of the tent. I'm hearing very close to the tent, though. I mean, like right at the tent. And I'm like, "Jess." No, nothing. I'm like, "Jess, Jess." I reach over. I start shaking her. I'm like, "Jessica, Jessica." She was out. Out. And and she says it's not like her to be out like that. Just like completely out, unresponsive. So I have no idea what it was. I just I laid there and I pulled the blanket over my head and I went to sleep. Don't know why. I never do that. If I hear something, I can't sleep. Everybody knows I'm the one. I'm the chick that's like insomniac, right? Like that's usually me. I just said like this, and the second that I did that, I was out. I was out. I was knocked out. I was out cold. We didn't get up until probably like I might have been Jess might help me confirm here. Like I want to say maybe we got up around 8:30, something like that. 8:30. We were helping Jessica break down because we were staying another night and she was going to leave. And Matt and I were starting to help her break down her stuff. And I didn't get a photo. I wish I had, but I didn't. Behind Jessica's tent, where I was hearing that rustling and whatever I was hearing outside, the leaves were all moved around and kicked around outside the tent, right exactly where I heard it. There was no trackway in, and there was no trackway in, like coming from that direction or coming from this direction. And directly behind where this area was, there was an actual like creek, like water running down this, like right in between the campsites. So 9 a.m. Thanks, Jess. um, so I knew nothing came from that direction and there was nothing coming that way. And I even said to Matt, I'm like, look at the leaves. They're all like disheveled and moved around right where I heard it. But yet there was nothing, there was nothing disturbed anywhere else except right where I was hearing this sound. So Jessica gets packed up. we go to take some photos, like, like of the weekend, like of the three of us. We hadn't got any photos. After we got back, Matt had posted, and I'm going to share it with you guys right now. The entire time, I will tell you guys though, all day Saturday day before we went to the mountain, before we went and when we got back, and then the next morning, okay, while we were kind of like waking up, having some coffee, Matt and Jessica kept staring across the street. Across the street was another campsite, but just past that. And they just kept staring over there and staring over there and staring over there and looking and looking. And I'm like, what are you guys looking at? And they were seeing things up on this hill, kind of darting in between trees and stuff, like black things darting around. I didn't see them. I didn't. Matt, and I think Jess, you saw them too. And so we go to take a photo before Jessica had to leave. Matt posted it after we returned home. Matt posted this photo. I did, and he posted it on his community tab on his channel, Supernatural Spectrum. If you guys haven't subscribed over there, go and do that, please. And to the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, make sure you guys subscribe to her as well. So he posted this photo. And someone else that he knows, a friend of his, another researcher, says, hey, what's up with the portal behind you guys? We're like, what? And he notices the portal right here, or what he thought is a portal, or what we think might be a portal. Don't know, can't prove it, but you can't disprove it. That's something my kids always tease me about. They'll go, but you can't disprove it, Mom. So here it is zoomed in. And is it a portal? I don't know. But I find it very strange that in the middle, right across the street where they were seeing things darting around in that whole area for 2 days, this shows up in the photo. And we didn't even know it was there until someone else pointed it out. So I don't know. Now, Matt and I, Jessica left. Story still keeps going, and this is crazy. Matt and I go trout fishing. Matt's looking for trout, and Jessica left. And so we go to get some trout, and we're doing this fishing thing. And I did a live and had this really good time. I was just like reflecting, and I loved it there. I loved it. I loved the energy. I just loved being in that area. It was just beautiful and rejuvenating for me, because I'm in this concrete jungle down here, so it made me feel so good to be in that environment. And we spent the entire day out. We got back to the camp. On the way back, in my mind, I was like, I really feel like maybe in my head, I didn't say anything to Matt. I was like, kind of wish when we were just going to pack up and head out of there tonight. And I was just having this thought in my head. And next thing I know, Matt says to me, he's like, hey, why don't we just leave tonight? I said, I like that idea. All right, let's leave tonight. We get back to camp. We start breaking down. It starts when we got back. Everybody that had been there for the weekend was gone. There was only one other campsite that had people on it. They were in a mobile, like a little trailer. Everybody else was gone. And the energy was totally off. I mean, off. Matt and I felt like it was like impending doom. Like if we don't get out of here, it's going to be our lives if we don't get out of here. Like, that's how we were feeling, this dread, this like, oh my God, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. We packed up. We got everything out, got everything. I said, okay, hang on. I got to sit for a second. Not as, not as young as you. Let me sit for a second. I'm going to have a cigarette. I'm going to chill out for a minute. I go into the car to grab a cigarette and I see my phone and there's a message from Amber. She says in her message, I had a vision of you. She's talking about me. I had a vision of you standing in front of this predator thing. And you're just standing there and you're motionless. And I need you guys to be careful. I need you to be careful. Because I think in that moment, she thought that what she was seeing was something that was going to happen. And I just literally said to Matt, I'm like, okay, we got to go. How much more do we got to go? Like, forget the Tetris shit. Just throw everything in the truck, push it in, mash it in. I don't care. We got to go. He's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, just, we got to go. Because at this point, I don't even want to tell Matt what Amber sent because I knew he'd really panic, or not really panic because he doesn't really panic. But I mean, I knew that he would be like, whoa, and just the way I was. And I didn't want him to get very upset about it. I was thinking like trying to keep it, doing the mom thing, right? Like playing it down. So finally I tell him, I said, well, look at what Amber sent. And I showed it to him. And all I knew was that the vibe was off. There was something wrong. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know why. But the entire time it just felt like if we didn't get out of there when we did, something really bad was going to happen. So we got out of there and we drove through the night. We drove through the night, got home the next morning. I dropped Matt off and all his equipment and all his stuff. And I've got about another 20-minute drive. I get home. And the night that this incident happened on the mountain, while we were kind of talking about everything ourselves, I had said to Jessica and Matt, I said, maybe we need to check our bodies for any marks. Like maybe we need to do that. And then they were like, yeah, we need to do that. And then we never did it. So that morning I got home. I needed a shower. I hadn't showered in a couple days. I get in the shower and I find this on my arm. On the inside of my right arm. They weren't there before. And that was the part that took a couple days to sink in for me.
Did they itch or any pain at all?
No, no. There was nothing underneath them. It was just like they were just dots. And I know that Jessica had noticed that she had like one dot on her face and then Matt had one on his face someplace else.
Have you thought about it's 7 total, right?
What?
Is that 7 total dots on your arm?
Yeah.
It may sound silly. You might match it up with a star map.
Really?
Be worth a shot.
Huh.
I
I
don't know.
never
That's what it
thought of
looks like
that.
to me. It looks like a constellation or something like that. The way it's none I'm
I know.
familiar with.
I know, but it just to me, it doesn't look random.
No, it doesn't. It kind of looks like I think Scorpio. There seems to be a constellation. I don't know if it's Scorpio or what shaped that way.
Ah, Jessica agrees with you. She said she was thinking the same thing. She said, I was thinking that too, John. But that's when I got kind of like, what the hell happened? Like what happened? Like what really happened? And I gotta say, it took me about 24 hours. I'm a tough old girl, so I can take a lot. Been through a lot in my life. So
Have any of
uh
the three of you been having any dreams or ill effects since the trip
I have
that you
not
know of?
I have not.
No
I don't know.
nightmares, no
I have
dizziness.
not. No. I don't know if Jessica has. Matt has not mentioned any to me. Um, but that's a good question. I don't know if he has. Jess, did you have any dreams or nightmares? Oh, she says she always has weird dreams. um, so that was kind of unnerving for me because I felt like, whoa, something did happen. Now, um, she says nothing out of the ordinary. Okay. Um, of course, I reach out to Amber and we were talking again and she was kind of describing a little more about the vision that she saw because I was thinking like I I was wondering if what she was actually seeing instead of something that was going to happen, maybe it was something that already had happened and that what she was seeing was what happened Saturday night, at least to me. Now, um I'm going to show everybody a photo um that I saw on the internet and I Amber tried to sketch what she saw and I was trying to kind of find something online that kind of was similar to what she saw and I sent it to her and she said that this being looked very similar to this photo except he was because when she said that she saw in her vision me in standing face to face with it and she said that it was like 9 to 10 feet tall and that I'm just kind of there's nothing around us. It wasn't, it was just kind of like in nothingness, she said, something like nothingness, like there wasn't stars, there wasn't anything around us. It was just like black. And so this is similar, she says, very similar to um what she saw. And I got to tell ya, it scared me. It did scare me.
Well, that would scare anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this:
Mhm.
does that look any way, in any way, shape, or form, in the basic shape of the shadow you guys saw, as if something like that was trying to manifest in front of you?
Yes, because when Matt and I saw that shadow, it was kind of down in that little like trail kind of thing, right? It was kind of standing down and so we were up the road was a little higher than what it was. It had to have been, and I even said that night before we even talked to Amber, it had to be anywhere from 9 to 10 feet tall. That's what I even, Matt and I even said that. Like we mentioned it in the car as we're driving. And I'm like, it had to be 9 or 10 tall, 9 or 10 feet tall. And Matt's like, yeah, it was really, it was big. Now, Amber says that what this photo depicts is very similar to what she saw, except it was 9 feet tall. And she said the head was huge. She said the head was huge. Um,
Well, you're always saying no coincidence. So Amber
yeah,
telling you to be careful at the same time you and Matt are both thinking you should go home.
yeah,
I think that's probably you did the right thing. And you know, yeah, once you mentioned that shadow thing, and it's not a Bigfoot. Yeah, it was probably time to leave. And you're like, your friend Amber, that's like an insurance policy out there if you can get a signal.
if you can get the signal.
Yeah,
Exactly. 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 I'm telling you, she's so talented. The gifts that this woman has is unbelievable. I'm sorry, Amber. Hold on. Let me put this up. I missed it. Oops. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. Gary, I'll show it again in just a minute, hon. I don't know if you saw my comment earlier, but I think the Sasquatch were making you feel unwelcome to actually protect you from these ET beings.
very good point.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I have to draw on the experience from my other good friend, Jessica Jones, because now she mentioned last night that she's going to see if she can get one of her team members to remote view and see what happened. So information is still kind of coming through for all of us. Yeah, Gary, let me show you the photo of my arm again. Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt like deliberate, like it wasn't random, but I have no clue what it could be. So
I
I
kind of
don't,
drew the pattern. I'm going to look that up with some constellations, especially for some reason I'm thinking Scorpio, but I could be off.
yeah, let me see what Scorpio looks like.
There, and about the only constellation I know right off the bat is Orion. So, but what I'm thinking maybe Scorpio, maybe something else. But there's a constellation I see almost every night that resembles that very close.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't see on my phone very well. My eyes are going.
That's why I'm wearing glasses. I have to do this on my phone because my computer, my internet's so weak here. I have to operate on my phone, so I got reading glasses on. I'll
um,
look for it, Marty, later and see. It just looks familiar for some reason.
Gary, what are you talking about? Look on your backdrop.
Yeah, the stars on your backdrop.
Oh, Gary, don't freak me out like that. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Is it like right back there and y'all
Not
are
the
seeing
tinted
it and I don't
backdrop.
see nothing? Like, what is going on here right now? Gary, you got abilities, you're seeing something. What's going on? Um, it's still unnerving.
So would you go back there?
Yes. Yes. Because that's
Well, that's what it's all about
yeah,
and what you do. Yeah.
yeah. It's what it's about. It's what we do. And I, you know,
Do you know if is there any military bases near there? Any air bases that
I just
anybody using radar? waves and things like that that you know of?
That would be a question for Jess. Hey, Jessica, Amber, do you guys want to jump on? I could send you guys the link. You guys want to jump on with us? It's an undisclosed location, Jessica says. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know. Like I said, without Jessica, I wouldn't even know where the heck I have no
I was
idea
just
where I
wondering.
was.
Sometimes you can get you may not see the jet, you may not hear the jet, but if somebody's running an attack radar or something, you can be miles away, and if you're sensitive, it can cause things like that.
Really? Oh, see, I
Yeah,
didn't know that
not
either.
not 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 the
But
shadow that you saw, but the
the
disorientation and stuff you felt. Yes.
And it's very interesting that you said that because remember earlier when I talked about the research area down here where something similar to that happened to me, very close to a base,
Okay.
very close. Pratt
No,
Whitney.
I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But with all you had going on, I don't think it was radar affecting you when
Yeah.
you got out. It was a spiritual thing.
All right,
You know,
Amber. Amber, I'm gonna send it to you in Messenger. Amber says she can come on. Where is my Facebook? What? No, no, no. Hold on. Okay. Okay. All right, Amber, I sent it to you. What? Wait. Where'd everybody go? There we go. And I don't, Jess, I'm going to send it to you just in case maybe you can pop into if you want to, if you can, or let's see. All right. Oh, I'm. Did I send it? Did I? Sorry, I sent it to Amber twice. Okay, Jess, here it comes. There we go. Okay. All right. So, yeah, it was a very un and again, like I said, I still wasn't like scared or what. It was the moment that I was in the shower and I saw those marks. That's when I was like, I think something really did happen to me. Like
and nothing else anywhere else on your body. Those marks were just right there, right?
I did have a small bruise on the top of my left thigh. But I don't think it was related in any way because it was fading. It was starting to fade away, kind of. It wasn't. I did
Yeah,
take a
those weren't
photo.
bruises. That was something else entirely, like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
puncture kind of looking thing. Yeah.
yeah. But the skin wasn't. The skin was not broken. Here we go. Hi, Amber.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. I am good. All right, Jess. She's cooking pies for the holiday, so Um, yeah, the marks on my arm, I they didn't, like I said, they weren't raised. They did not itch, they did not hurt. They there was nothing under, nothing under the skin.
Are they still
Um
there?
no, no, they're gone.
How long did it last?
About 3, 4 days. 3 or 4 days. And they just faded away. And okay, so I'm going to show you guys like I take blood thinners and this is what happened to me when I fell at work this week. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, that's what normally happens to me. Like that's the kind of stuff that happens when because I take blood thinners and I will bleed super easy if I get a bruise or if I get a like a scrape or a scratch. Can somebody get that bot, please? Guys, thank you. And so that was another reason why I was kind of like, okay, I have these dots on my arm, but I didn't bleed. My skin wasn't broken. And I mean, I can go to Matt's house, and if his dog like kind of like does a jump up on me kind of thing and scratches me, I'll be bleeding. I'll just start bleeding like that. Like, and these perfect like little just dots that just eventually faded away. So I don't know. It was weird.
Well, not to freak you out, and this is just, the you got that basic triangle three there. If you remember seeing the old Predator movie, their laser sight, wasn't it in a triangle? Didn't it come out as three dots with a
Yes, it did.
sleep tight?
Thanks, John.
Sorry, it just popped in my head. What can I tell you?
No, but that's true though. That's true. That's true. I will show
And
you
movies
guys.
have more accuracy than we even know. So
Yeah, I think movies are
Yeah.
prepping us sometimes.
I mean, Amber, can you describe kind of what you saw in your vision for everybody?
I saw you standing right in front of him, like you were facing each other, and you just looked like you weren't there, but you were, and he was directly in front of you.
And he wasn't touching me or anything.
No,
He's just standing there.
just a few inches from being kind of like toe to toe.
Toe to toe. Wow. And then you did say like in the background it was like just blackness or something, right?
Um, it could have been the woods, but it looked darker, like trees, but it was just darker.
It's crazy.
Was the weather clear the second night, or was it
Yes.
raining? No flashes, light flashes in the sky, or anything you can recall?
No. No. We didn't see any lightning. We just heard this wall of rain coming. Like
And then
here,
Jessica and Matt had the orbs, though, correct?
yeah. And Matt said he saw his like he saw it and then it just like blinked out. And then Jessica's, she said hers like kind of like moved and like had a blur kind of to it and then disappeared.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
And they were in two different places because like I said, we were kind of sitting in a triangle, you know what I mean? Like, and so Matt was facing Matt's line of sight would have been behind Jessica, and Jessica would have been, her line of sight would have been directly behind Matt.
Well, I really think Amber hit the nail on the head earlier when she was talking about it wasn't really belligerence the way the Sasquatch were reacting to you, but they were being kind of cold and standoffish, maybe to do just that, to get you guys to move along and get out of the area.
Yeah. And another thing too, we just weren't 100% sure if the rain thing was a part of this whole experience that we went through. Because when we got off the mountain, when Matt made that statement to me, he's like, "Oh, it's okay because we're out, we're right here, we're out, we're off the mountain, we're at the bottom," and that's when we all were like, "Well, there was no rain. The rain was nowhere. It was stopped. There was no rain." Because like I'm telling you, I was like, we got to get down, and I got to drive careful, and I got to go slow because it was such. When you're in Florida, because we're flat as hell, and we got all you see, like you just see a wall of black coming for you, right? Like, so that was kind of what I was envisioning because that's what that's what we were hearing, as if it was just this, like, you could hear it coming, almost like I don't know how to explain it. Like you could hear it moving through the trees coming at us. So we were very like, oh man, that's crazy. And in my mind, I'm like, I just pray to God that in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Oh, here comes Jess. Hey, thank you.
Well, hey, y'all. Hey, John.
Hi, Jessica.
Hey, Jess.
Hey, Amber.
I was
What's
talking.
up?
I was talking about that rain, like how it just sounded like it was moving straight towards us. And then when we got to the bottom of the mountain, there was no rain going on.
Yeah, I mean, we could hear it coming from miles away. And what's even more strange is that it showed up. It hit us, and then it was long enough for us to get in the car and start driving down the mountain, and then it quit. And we never saw rain again.
Yep.
Not until later that night, I guess, at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really odd. It was almost as if it was just to get us out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to say the universe is like working to get you guys away from this
That's
location.
what it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
They didn't
want us there.
Your orb was. Yeah.
Do
your
what, John?
orb? Do you have any idea how far away it might have been, or the size?
Yeah, it was right in front of me, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. I'm going to say about 20 yards at the most in front of me. And it was about the color of your shirt, John. Okay. It was kind of like an orangish red. And it was just a light. And I call it an orb because we see so many orbs out there regularly. It was about the size of a softball, like that big. And it moved, and it just kind of moved so fast, it kind of blurred out. And then that right when it blurred out, I heard hoof, like that, like a hoof, like a loud growlish huff. And so we shined our flashlights over towards that area where it was, because you got to make sure there's not a bear about to charge at you. Okay. But there was no bear. Yeah. There was no bear. And that's right when the rain came. So we had to get out of there pretty quickly after that.
I've seen some lights in the mountains to the north of me. No, the ones to the south. I get a better view of them because I'm backed right up to the ones here, and the others are about a mile away. And I remember seeing some orbs early one morning, and I thought maybe it was deer hunters on ATVs, and they were just kind of bobbing along about 2/3 of the way up the mountain. Then they both just dropped down like 200 feet, bobbed along and bobbed back. And I said, okay, that's not ATVs, so yeah, they're weird. But I've never been close. Everything I've seen like that, it's always been at a distance. So,
well, I can tell you, I have seen orbs in that area where we were. I've had ET, UFO contact, Bigfoot, all that stuff. So I knew it was an active area, and I'm so used to it. I take it for granted. Well, I don't take it for granted because I don't ever take anybody out there. It's
was that the first time you gotten headaches there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't usually get headaches and stuff, but it also could have been the barometric pressure, perhaps, because it was raining and we were going through the mountains and all that stuff. But I don't know. It was really odd because Marty and I both got headaches in the exact same spot right here in our temples, right behind our eyes. Like my eyes were hurting.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That was really definitely not a coincidence at all.
Yeah.
No, that was from something there.
It was a punishment, or you're being chastised?
No, I don't. No, not at all. I mean, I don't think that. To me, I didn't feel like they didn't want us there. They wanted us to leave. They weren't threatening us. If they wanted to threaten us, they would have hurt us.
Right. And at one point, when that very strange energy had came in, I almost felt like, and we talked about it after the experience when we got back to camp. We talked about, like I said, that I was wondering if the Sasquatch got upset because maybe they thought like we brought this weird energy here, like whatever this weird thing was that came in, like maybe they were upset because maybe they felt we were the reason that this thing showed up.
Probably me. Probably just mad at me. Like, why is she back here bringing this ET stuff? I always bring the high strangeness. So, yeah.
You know, the headaches
Amber,
really sound like a psychic attack headache in a way, but not like really an attack. But like it happens to me a lot. Like if I'm out channeling or doing readings, a lot of them, you know, when you're connecting with something that's not another human in, you know, standing in front of you, you're using telepathy, you're using your energy, and it can really make you feel like crap. You know, it
Mhm.
happens.
that's a
Yeah.
good point too.
Yeah.
Amber, Primal Cry wants to know if the being felt malevolent to you. Did you get
At
that
first, I
feeling?
think it did because of what he looks like. You know what I mean? Like we tend to base our fears off what things look like. Um, that's why I told you to be careful. I think you were his work, or you know, you all been there where his like he wanted to do something. He had a mission, and that was like kind of set in stone before you even got there. Like he wanted to do something with you. Um, I
Okay.
wouldn't trust him, but obviously, like Jessica said a little bit ago, if they really wanted to hurt you, they would have done it.
Yeah.
They're just kind of maybe trying to see what's up, you know, doing some kind of experiment or something. I don't know.
Well, I still go back to for 2 solid weeks knowing that we were going on this trip of what I was trying to manifest was contact with high vibrational beings. That was what I was manifesting. So it's still knowing that I was doing that, and then I'm the one that ends up with like these marks on my arm. I mean, I'm not saying it happened only to me. I'm just saying I feel like it was something that I might have manifested.
Yeah. I got initiated out there years ago. I had those marks a long time ago, probably. Just kidding. I don't know. I didn't find any marks on me, but I did have a weird, but obviously we had not showered in a while. So like I could have just gotten a pimple on my face. I don't know. I mean, there were
but
no
Matt had,
showers out there, but
but
Matt had
Matt,
one too. We
but
had
Matt,
like dots on our faces and stuff, but I mean,
yeah,
it could have been anything, but
yeah.
I didn't have any cuts on me or any kind of indentions or what like that stuff you had on your arm. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jessica, how much of a for remote viewing?
Uh-huh.
You have to have a date and a time and a place for that, or and how big of an event does it have to be for somebody to detect something?
It can be a small event. I mean, that's why my team was trained in remote viewing, so we could be able to examine paranormal things that happen to us. And I mean, it could be anything, small or large or whatever. Yeah, a location. You know, in order to assign a target, you do need that information like that. It would be good.
Well, I
Yeah.
got that information on a place.
Okay. Yeah.
I may send it to him one day if one of y'all have time to look into it. It's I tell a lot of people about this place, but nobody goes there, and and it's not a forbidding place, but it is. It reminds me of what Marty was saying about how everything feels off. Every time I'm at this place, everything feels off.
Yeah.
Now, I had things happen there, but never saw anything. But I was so sure that if I was ever going to see a Sasquatch, it'd be someplace where I felt everything was off. But
Yeah.
no, I see one while I'm standing in my front yard while everything feels on. So,
That's
but there
right.
is a place I would love to get checked out because there's something off up there, big time off. But we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah,
But I was
I can
curious.
check it out for you. I'll
Okay.
do it. Yeah, I'll look into
Yeah,
it
I
for you.
think I can even track down the exact date and probably close to the hours. So
Amber, can you describe the black furry cryptids that you were seeing?
It was like cute little round gremlin balls. I don't know what you want to call them.
mini Ewoks or
They were little and furry, and you know the eyes were prominent, but like they were just little furry, like a Furby, but like more round, just like these little. I mean, they may not have been the nicest, but They were cute.
And then the portal, the picture of this possible portal thing that we had in that photo, that kind of made a lot of sense, because I mean, because at camp I wasn't paying a lot of attention because I didn't see, like Matt and Jessica just kept constantly looking in that area.
Yeah, I just kept feeling pulled to that area for some reason. Like something was watching me. It was that kind of a deal.
Did any of you all walk into that area where you think the portal may have been?
Yeah, I had been over there.
You did.
Yeah, I parked my car over there actually.
You did. You did.
Yeah. It was no different than our campsite. Yeah.
Yeah, it was and that, like I said, none of us even noticed that in the photo until Matt posted it on his community page, and then someone else was like, "Hey, man, there's a portal back there." We were like, "What?"
Yeah, brown dwarf. I have not seen puckwudgies in Georgia, but there probably are. There probably are puckwudgies here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There. There's a
Well,
lot.
there. Yeah.
I mean, it was
It didn't disappoint, did it?
No.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't disappoint. Not in any way. But I mean, the energy there is very, very, very like powerful. Like there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
I would love to go there.
You who knows what the heck would happen if you show up? You and
Right?
you and me and Jessica. Oh boy.
Crazy stuff always happens when I go places. So
I know. And just as a reminder, Amber's Paraworld, she's on YouTube, she's on TikTok, all that. Like, go check out her channel. She's amazing. I'm telling you. That's why she's got amazing stuff on her channel. You have to go subscribe and check out her channel. Become a member. Jessica, also the Cryptid Huntress. Go to her channel. She's got amazing shows as well. Always has amazing guests on hers. And are you on anything else other than YouTube, Jess? Oh, yeah, I know you have War Woman Goods. You have an Etsy shop, War Woman Goods.
Yeah, I'm on Patreon.
And then Patreon, yeah. That's right, and, Patreon.
Instagram,
I am a member
Twitter.
of. Yep, I am a member of your Patreon. I love your Patreon.
Thank you so much.
I enjoy it very much. Jessica always has great stuff on her Patreon page, so check that out.
Thank you. That's got a bunch of remote viewing stuff on there and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got a text message from a friend saying those dots might line up like the positions of the pyramids too. Some of them.
Really?
That's something else I can look at when I get off here. Yeah, and yeah, I've got a friend. I would really like to get her introduced to you guys because you all sound alike. But she's got things. She's very sensitive, and what'd you call it earlier, Amber? You asked me about abilities. She's got abilities, and very interesting. I think you guys would all get along well. I think she'd make good guests for your show too. But sounds getting her good. On, that might be another thing.
Thank you, Brown Dwarf. Can you also put the link to Jessica's channel also in the chat?
Oh, he did. He did
awesome.
Earlier.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Brown Dwarf.
Thank you, Brown Dwarf.
Sweet.
One more question. Do you recall any odd sensory things like scent or taste, etc.? I don't remember.
I didn't taste any Sasquatch out there.
Well,
thank God.
Here's the kicker, though. I got another invitation to go back to Georgia, and I will be going back to Georgia with Jess in just a couple weeks. So I'm going to be going back.
Oh yeah.
And
We got more stuff to look into out here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is this going to be another trip for a few days?
Yeah. You're gonna have to check it out for me, Amber. You're gonna have to see. I'll have you on speed dial.
Okay, that'll work.
Maybe are we gonna have a chance to have signal, Jess, you think maybe?
Yeah, there's actually signal at this other place.
Awesome.
Yeah, there should be. I don't know.
Because I have
depends.
my psychic medium that needs to get a hold of me because she might have a vision.
Well, you can just drive down the road and get signal if not. Yeah. It's not out in the middle of nowhere. We don't have to go up mountains and stuff. So on this trip.
Primal Cry asked about metallic taste, and not that I remember. I have to tell you, it was
we were thirsty. We were thirsty though.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, we were very dehydrated.
Very, yeah,
very, very dehydrated.
So that is a good point.
That is a good point.
So what do you think? There's about 20 minutes of time could be missing. You said it was about a 30-minute drive, or was it?
Yeah, probably.
I remember looking at the display in my car because that was another weird thing. Remember, Jessica, how the road, like it was showing that we weren't on the road. It was showing.
Oh yeah, the GPS was completely wonky.
Completely.
It was, yeah. I mean, we were driving on a main road that was paved, like a paved road, and it was showing us driving off the road the entire time. We were nowhere near the road. It didn't make sense.
But I just remember looking at the time on my display in my car. I remember, and it was 38 minutes is how long it took us to get up there.
Yeah.
And well, you start adding some of this up and say, if it is an alien or a UFO, ET, let's say ET, and it's not interstellar, it's a dimensional thing, maybe. That would go along with seeing a portal behind you in a picture. That would go along with your GPS messing up. I mean, if the border's getting thinned out, or the veil's getting thinned out there, I'm just shooting in the dark here, just throwing out basics, but there was a lot of interference on your weekend. And that seems to be the theme. It was interference of one kind or another.
Yeah. I do have one more photo. I forgot. I just remembered. I have one more photo. So this particular photo, so I showed you guys the face of the owl, what it looked like. And this is what a lot of people report when they have their screen memories, from abductions and things like that. And it looks almost identical to the owl that we saw that night, that white face, but it had no markings on it though.
Zero.
It was
pure
just
tan.
solid tan.
Which was that was really confusing to me because I'm not used to seeing owls. And I mean, I had an owl that was taxidermed in my bedroom when I was a kid. I'm a country girl, y'all. I grew up on a farm, okay? And there was an owl with its wings out, and it was like all crazy looking. And when it would thunder and lightning at night, it would shine light on the owl, and it would be like ominous, like owl. It was covered. It was like brindle, like a dog would have like a brindle coloring on it. It was like that. I've never seen an owl that was pure one color. I mean, not in person. I know that's how they are, but I've never seen one like that.
I saw one last night, and I sent Marty a message about it. It flew right over my windshield. I saw its belly and everything.
Do you believe that?
So crazy.
Do you believe that? It flew in front of her windshield. The same color.
It looked like we were going to hit it, and so I screamed.
Yeah, she screamed. I screamed.
I screamed like a little girl, and my throat hurt after that because I screamed so loud. I don't know what happened. It was weird.
It was very really weird.
Yeah.
And it the slow motion of it was so bizarre. Like I can still see
Yeah.
it in my mind.
Slow motion and sideways. It was so weird. Yeah. It
Slow
was just
motion
not,
and
and I
sideways.
have a hawk that lives in my neighborhood that flies over my car pretty often, and it kind of swoops down. That's why I immediately thought it was a hawk, but then I thought, well, it's late at night. Hawks don't usually come out at night like that, in my experience. Had to have been an owl, but it was so small. It was like it. I mean, it was small. It was like the size of a football.
Yeah.
Okay, and the way it kind of swooped down sideways, and it just kind of. I just don't understand how we didn't hit it. It didn't make sense. It was like it was suspended in the air, suspended in time. I know it sounds weird, but that's what it felt like.
Because even Matt had said that I was going about 40 miles an hour.
We were going pretty slow because we had just gotten on the road.
Yeah. Like 35, 40 miles an hour. It's like I was, but still.
I wish we had a recorder on.
I know. Gosh, I need one of those. I need one of those in my life.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to make a donation to any of our channels, we would certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, just
dash cam. We need a dash cam on this next trip, Jessica.
I mean, just if one of us had been recording through our phone, it would have been pretty interesting because the way we all screamed and reacted to that, it was just wild.
It was actually kind of funny.
You know, a dash cam is a good idea, Marty. Like it's something that could record out while you're out exploring and just kind of, even if you're not in front of the car, just kind of see what's coming and going. That'd be a really good idea.
Yeah. If anybody wants to make a donation to my channel for a dash cam.
Yeah, I saw a slow motion owl maybe a week or two before you guys had that experience, and it was the weirdest thing. Like I literally had to stop the car because it was like glitching right in front of me. It was so weird. It was really late when this happened. But I have a thing with owls. I don't really like them. Me and the owl had a standoff earlier this year, and I had to run.
Yeah, I mean, I've had owls. You know, a lot of people they misidentify animals in the woods as being a Sasquatch, and a lot of people hear owls in the woods and think that it's a Bigfoot because they sound like monkeys. Okay, when an owl gets irritable and it wants you out of its territory, it will start sounding like a rabid monkey. Okay, ask me how I know. Okay. I used to live in this area called Decatur, Georgia, Oakhurst, this area, and there were these huge oak trees everywhere, and there were a lot of owls, and I would hoot to these owls at night sometimes because you'd hear them hooting, and I'd hoot back. Well, I was hooting at them when I was walking my dog one night, and that was a bad idea because I must have like thrown up an owl gang sign or something in the wrong territory. I don't know what I did.
An owl gang sign.
I don't know. I was repping the wrong town. I don't know what happened there because it got really upset. It sounded like a monkey in the tree, and even my dog started running. I ran, my dog ran, but it sounded like monkeys, and it sounded like they were after me. And everywhere I ran, they followed me.
Wow!
Until I got to my apartment, and I ran inside and I locked the door, and I was like, "All right, I'm leaving the owls alone." It sounded like a monkey.
They paced you out. They're like, this chick's out of here.
Owls can be very weird. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like there was a morning a couple months ago, and I have chickens, and I heard one of them kind of screaming. So, and it was morning, but it was still dark out. So I go outside and I see this owl eating one of my chickens, right? And this thing is like 3 feet tall. It's huge. And I'm yelling at it. The dog my Pyrenees couldn't get to it because there's a fence right there. So it's not even fazed by him barking. And I grabbed the first thing I could find, and it was like a water hose nozzle, and I threw it at it and hit it in the head. And it looked at me and like jerked its head twice and just came running at me. And I ran in the house.
Oh my God.
I'd come after you too if you threw a water hose at me.
Oh my gosh, it was huge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but he ate my chicken though. So
I
was like, not
chicken?
Today. Yes,
it
ate my chicken.
Oh, I'd throw a water hose at it too. I'd do the same.
But he came running after me. I thought it was going to fly away. He came charging me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the owls though. I mean, so when you hear something, and a lot of times if you'll hear an owl in the woods making those sounds, some people think that could be a Sasquatch because it sounds like an ape or a monkey, so it's good to know the differences between the sounds. And so if you actually if anyone's going to be out in the woods or out in the field doing Bigfoot research, it's good to go online and listen to all the different sounds that owls make so that you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Monkey owls. No dark woods. I don't have an audio recording of the monkey owls. I wish I did. I bet it's online though. You could probably hear it's just owls when they get irritable.
And we also have to take into account, like, even if you're on a Bigfoot research, there's sometimes we can kind of draw in dead people, other cryptids that we have no idea what they are, like those little round things. Like, I've never seen one of those before, but I've seen weird stuff that, we don't really have names for yet. There's a lot of things that are out there that we just aren't familiar with.
Right. You're and when you're talking and when you're mentioning that, like Sasquatch and dogmen are not the only things that are out in the woods.
Exactly.
That are cryptids. And Amber sees them, and Jessica has remote viewed a lot of them.
Mhm.
So we know that there's a lot of things out there, not just Sasquatch or dogman related, and they could be who knows what.
There's a lot of ETs out there, and where we went, Marty, there's a lot of ET activity. So, and there's not a whole lot you can do with ETs. They're gonna take over. Gotta be careful. You gotta watch your back.
Yeah. So that's the story, and we're sticking to it. And I'm sure that there's people going to have a lot of questions that maybe I didn't see in the chat tonight, or that come to people later. Please feel free, put questions in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I don't know, maybe tonight will spark some more direction on something that maybe we're not thinking of, or somebody will have another piece of the puzzle. Because doesn't that happen a lot of times, right? Us researchers, right? When we start collaborating with each other and we start kind of seeing that, hey, this piece fits here and this piece fits here. And so, that was our Georgia trip in a nutshell.
Yeah. Trip number 1.
And I can't wait to see what whoever Jessica has to remote view this, picks up on. Are you going to have them do just certain points of the trip, or just like the whole thing?
I don't know yet. See, it'll be blind, so I don't want to give it away right now. So I don't want anybody to get the word. So
okay,
I'll let you guys know when we're done with it. How about that?
I'm so excited to see this.
It'll probably be like an overall, like what happened.
Okay.
Night. Yeah.
Which I'm very thankful for. Honestly, I am very thankful for you being able to reach out to somebody, Jessica, who can do that. And Amber, thank you so much. You really have helped us a lot, and you've actually helped me kind of deal with this whole thing, and you've been amazing, and thank you very much. And Jessica, what can I say? You love taking me to dangerous places, and here I am coming along for the ride number 2. So I can't wait to see where it takes us this time.
Listen, if it was that dangerous, I wouldn't have taken you there. It's just
I'm just
intense.
teasing you.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing you.
It's intense. Look, we were protected. Don't worry.
Yeah. No. I know. I honestly didn't. I never at any time did I ever feel like our lives were in danger. I never felt that way at all. I never at any point felt, until Sunday night when Matt and I went back to that campsite, and the vibe had changed. It was impending doom. You need to go. You need to get out of here. Now, again, I don't know what that was from. I don't know if that was just me, my abilities kind of kicking in, knowing that something was off, something was not right.
You didn't have your security guard with you.
That's right. You're right.
You didn't have your security guard. That's why.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
Things can happen when you're alone. When they get you alone, it's different. they don't
Oh,
want
yeah.
witnesses. So
Yeah.
I think you made the right call, absolutely, to go ahead and head
Get
out,
out.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times when my team's out doing research, a couple of the guys will stay behind for a night or two after the whole group leaves, so that there's pretty much guaranteed activity that night. It's always when the group leaves,
Why do you think that is, though?
because you're isolated and
Okay. So you're
you
like
know,
the only one there, and they can.
yes, yeah. There's probably a whole bunch of different reasons, but it's
And there's
probably
not
just
a lot
Yeah.
of
you're
witnesses
isolated.
that way, too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's usually the bravest of the brave that want to stay behind one night, you know. So
And probably the bravest of the brave with the very big guns, very
well,
large rifles, and
maybe,
maybe
or maybe everybody's
allegedly,
got big guns. I don't know. Who knows?
allegedly,
Yeah,
for entertainment purposes only.
entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, John. Thank you for being here. Thank you for
I appreciate it.
joining me and like I really appreciate you being here with me tonight, John. I really
I
did.
enjoyed every second of it. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you'll be back. Don't worry. I know you're going to be back. I know you're going to be back. I don't know when.
Primal
but you're gonna
Cry
be
had a
back.
good question just now. I mean, has anybody been reported missing in that area? Or
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm sure.
oh, okay.
That's why she goes there.
I wouldn't go there if there weren't a missing persons cluster over there.
I'm sorry.
I
That
know.
was so funny. I kept remembering that Saturday night, like you and I were like we were like practically giddy. We were like so exhausted that we were just like laughing and joking and laughing and joking. Like it was
Yeah.
just like, and then it was like, next thing I know, I'm hearing all this crazy shit outside. And then Jessica's like, out. I'm like,
I gotta go to sleep. Yeah.
I'm like, that's it.
Sorry,
Wake
I
up.
was really tired. But you know, it was really odd because like I don't ever sleep that hard. I do sleep very well when I'm out in the field, and but that was odd, especially having you right there beside me, like in that tent.
Yeah. And I was
we were
shaking
we
you.
were we were feet from each other, a couple of
Yeah.
feet. So it
And
was
I was
like,
like, Jessica.
that's not like me at all. So that
Yeah.
makes me wonder, was I knocked out? And you know, and not only that, but Matt heard something unzipping the tent.
That's right.
Yeah.
He heard
Your
because
tent. Yeah.
my tent was empty. I mean, I just had like my duffel bag in there, but it was nothing worth anything. And Matt did hear that zipper unzip. Mm-hmm. And he thought it was me or you getting out of our tent, like to go to the bathroom or something like
Yeah.
that.
But it
But he
wasn't
didn't-
us.
But it wasn't us because we never left
Yeah.
the tent. Yeah, we never left the tent. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. That was really weird. And very
Yeah.
unlike me to not wake up. So yeah.
There was so much
Had to
about
been
that
something
weekend.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for, trip 2. I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Cold,
Yeah.
but fun.
Yeah. It's going to be cold, but it's going to be fun. I'm
Yeah.
good. I went to my doctor today. Guess what? Woo woo. I got my prescription of antibiotics just in case I get sick.
Oh, okay. Do you still have those marks on your arm, Marty? Did they go away?
No, they went away. Yeah.
Okay.
About took like
how long?
3 or 4 days. 3 or 4
Okay.
days they stayed.
So that was
And
just a
then-
little surface scratch then. That wasn't that deep or anything. That's really
But
odd.
they weren't scratches. That's the weird part. They weren't. My skin was. Did you see where I was showing what normally happens to
Yeah,
me, like when I fall?
did.
Like I get like it gets
Yeah,
like this
from the blood
I get-
thinner.
Yeah. So I have,
It's weird.
so for that to literally just be like these dots, like I don't know. The skin wasn't broken because I would have been bleeding. Trust me. It was strange. Very weird.
It is weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, John. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah.
You too. Amber, it's always
Yes.
a pleasure to hear you.
Yeah, this was fun.
And thank you, Marty,
Yeah.
for letting me jump on for a sec.
Of course. Of
I'm
course.
actually making pumpkin pies tonight. So
Ooh,
I'm
yummy.
sitting right here by my kitchen, hoping my
Yummy.
pie's not burning.
I need to do that. I'm just
It
procrastinating.
smells really
so.
good. Yeah.
I
Oh,
made
yeah.
last year, instead of making pumpkin pies, I made buttermilk pies, and it's so
Ooh.
good.
My mom makes those. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about making cheesecake, like little mini cheesecakes tomorrow.
Oh,
That'd be good.
nice.
Something different. I don't know. I want to get good and fat this Thanksgiving.
We are making
I
a cat
can't.
litter cake tomorrow evening, and we're going to prank everybody with it. If you have not
Ew.
seen the cat litter cakes, go look on
Yes.
TikTok.
Oh
A
my
cat
gosh.
litter cake. All right. I'm going to check that out, Amber.
That is so
Yeah.
gross, but it looks, it's going to be cinnamon, so it'll be fine.
Okay. All right.
Ew.
Let me check that out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate it so much. You guys coming on, and I'm gonna say goodnight,
Okay.
and I'm
Bye,
gonna
y'all.
talk to John
See you,
backstage for just
John.
a bit.
Okay.
You,
Bye,
Jeff.
Amber. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, ladies. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Amber. Thank you guys so much for being here in chat tonight, everybody. I know there was a lot of people kind of coming in and coming in, going out, coming in, coming and going out, and all that stuff. And thank you guys so much for being here, showing up for us. And much love, light, love, and blessings, guys. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will be back next Monday night. I don't know if Matt will be here with me or not. I don't know, but I will be here Monday night, and I will be back again on Tuesday nights. Pretty much, guys, I've decided to move my shows to Tuesday evenings from Saturday to Tuesdays. It just works better for me because I need to be able to get out and research, and it's hard, really hard to have a Saturday night show that I can't get out. I can't with my job. I got to have my weekends off in order to research. And so that's the reason for the move. And I got some amazing guests lined up. I have Jeremiah Fountain coming on soon. Shane Carpenter has agreed to come back for a second interview. I have Tom Springer coming on. I have, oh my goodness. I have a few people. I've got like 5 or 6 people already booked. So it's going to be a lot of fun coming up, guys. So stay tuned. I love you guys so much, and have a wonderful holiday weekend. And then if I can get my mouse to work. There we go. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.